Whoa, that's so dangerous.
On January 25th, in Honghua Jinyu Garden in Xicheng, Sichuan, a resident filmed part of an exterior wall being blown off by the wind. One TikToker said, "This is shoddy construction. It's so dangerous." In China, many residential buildings constructed over the past few decades have been criticized for being poorly built, and they're often referred to as Tofu-Dreg projects. In recent years, more and more defects have been discovered, even in homes built by major real estate companies like Vanke and Country Garden, both of which were once listed among the world's top 500 companies. Recently, these two giants have faced debt crises, and the poor quality of their buildings has become a major public concern.
It's about to collapse. Oh my god. There's a hole here. The steel columns are bent, and it's just mud underneath. Oh no. Oh no. My god.
Look, this is Country Garden's Cambridge County, District D. It's just shoddy construction. The steel reinforcements are exposed and bent, and the concrete crumbles with a simple scrape of the hand. It's basically just mud inside. How can anyone live in a place like this? If it collapses, who will be responsible for the safety of the residents and their property? What should we do?
In February 2025, homeowners in Changde, Hunan Province, reported cracks in the load-bearing columns of their underground parking garage. One resident explained that last summer, water started leaking throughout the garage, from above, from below, and even through cracks in the floor. Water seeped up through the cracks, and in some areas, water was even coming out of the columns themselves. In some buildings, the supporting columns have sunk, and parts of the structure are now so damaged that the floors are uneven and full of potholes. And yet, these homes were only handed over to the owners in recent years. Online, people left comments saying, "My classmate works in foundation construction and did a project for Country Garden. He said their cost-cutting and corner cutting were the worst he's ever seen." Another person wrote, "This is why I don't dare to buy an apartment. The house I built myself can easily last for 2 generations. Someone else commented, "These apartments come with a 70-year property right. But can most of these buildings actually last 70 years? It's hard to believe they'll stand the test of time." Another person who works in construction supervision said, "When Country Garden was rushing to meet deadlines, it was terrifying. I didn't even dare to go upstairs." A netizen posted a picture and said, "My first job after graduating was at Country Garden. They used the cheapest materials when delivering homes. The construction work was subcontracted layer by layer. I saw beams cracking, and my boss told me to have workers just cover the cracks with a bit of mortar. The entire structure looked crooked." Regarding the warped support columns, at Country Garden's development in Changde, one TikToker commented, "Country Garden once promised to give you a 5-star home. But now, with all these quality issues, that slogan feels like a joke. Similar problems have appeared in many of their other projects. It's said that their design institute could produce construction blueprints in just 1 day, and they've built 1 floor every 7 days. This rush for speed, along with excessive subcontracting, led to shortcuts and hidden defects. The result is a crisis for homeowners. One homeowner who took out a 30-year mortgage to buy a Country Garden home posted a video to warn others. Don't buy a fully furnished home.
Country Garden's so-called luxury renovations are garbage. Look at me, what a fool. I was to buy this ground floor apartment. The ceiling fell down without anyone touching it. Let me show you what luxury looks like here. It's all junk, see? The door fell off too. Now, let me show you the bathroom. This is the key part. They said they did the waterproofing, but look, there are water stains everywhere. If I go to the bathroom upstairs, the water leaks down here."
On February 10th, a woman posted about her Country Garden apartment, which she bought in 2017 and received in 2019. It's only been 5 years since her family moved in, and they've already had numerous safety issues. They used to report the problems to the developer, but now they feel like there's no point. The developer would say the warranty period is over, so who's responsible now? This is a Country Garden apartment with their so-called luxury renovation. Look at this huge piece of cement. If someone were standing underneath it when it fell, it could have been fatal. And this house is only a few years old. What was the point of paying extra for their renovations? I might as well have done it myself. We're afraid to live here now. Look at the cracks everywhere. If a piece this wide and this thick falls from the doorframe, it could hit someone passing by. How can we live like this? Country Garden was one of China's leading property developers. Founded in 1992 and headquartered in Foshan, Guangdong Province, the company became famous for its promise to give you a 5-star home. It had projects across China and internationally. It even made Fortune's Global 500 list multiple times, but today, Country Garden is among the biggest money losers in corporate history. As of December 31st, 2023, Country Garden had about $16.4 billion in overseas interest-bearing debt. Its shares were suspended from trading on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange starting April 2024. The company recently proposed an offshore debt restructuring plan, but reports say it hasn't gained creditor support. In January this year, Country Garden sales continued to plunge, reaching just 2.26 billion yuan, a 58.8% drop from 5.49 billion yuan in the same period last year. Some media outlets describe the situation bluntly, saying Country Garden is finished. China's crisis-ridden real estate developers haven't just left behind countless unfinished buildings at home, their overseas projects have also been affected. Take, for example, Country Garden's massive four-city project in Malaysia. It was launched under China's Belt and Road Initiative. This development has now become a ghost town, haunted by the company's debt crisis, and many fear these projects overseas may also suffer the same shoddy construction issues. Country Garden isn't the only developer facing problems. Vanke, long considered a benchmark in China's real estate industry, is now in trouble as well. Recently, a homeowner in Xuzhou, Jiangsu Province, posted online, "I can't believe it. A Vanke-built apartment with a crumbling main beam. It's just like those Tofu-Dreg projects."
This is a main beam. I never thought we'd see such poor construction in Xuzhou in 2025, especially with such serious structural issues. Look at this beam near the kitchen door. It's literally turning into sand. This is a safety issue. Vanke. I have no idea how your supervisors missed something this obvious. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. It's shocking. Just brushing it with my hand makes it crumble. This beam is supposed to be one solid piece, but look underneath. See that? Just a slight touch and chunks fall off. This is a load-bearing beam. Look here. It's all crumbling. And over here, there should be a steel reinforcement bar about 15 or 20 centimeters away, but I can't find it. I don't dare touch it any further. My God, the entire bottom part is like this. This is supposed to be solid concrete, not sand.
Another homeowner shared his disappointment after inspecting his new Vanke apartment.
I'm extremely disappointed with Vanke. Look at this shoe cabinet. It's warped. The window wasn't sealed properly, and water has already seeped in, leaving water damage. When we first came to inspect the apartment, the engineer noted 33 different defects. The quality is just awful.
Vanke, founded in 1984, was once China's top real estate developer and appeared on Fortune's Global 500 list several times. Although it's often categorized as a private company, it has strong ties to state-owned enterprises, with Shenzhen Metro Corp as its largest shareholder. In recent years, Vanke's sales have plummeted. Back in 2020, its contracted sales reached more than 700 billion yuan. By 2024, that figure had fallen to just 246 billion yuan. The company is expected to report a loss of 45 billion yuan this year, and its chairman, Yu Liang, has already resigned. Vanke is now stuck in a debt spiral, with numerous bonds and bank loans coming due. On February 10th, Shenzhen Metro Group provided the company with a loan of up to 2.8 billion yuan. But according to Bloomberg, Vanke still faces a staggering 982 billion yuan in liabilities. In March 2024, Moody's downgraded Vanke's credit rating to junk status. If even major players like Vanke and Country Garden are cutting corners, smaller developers are likely even worse, yet authorities seem to be turning a blind eye. A homeowner from the Sunshine Carrière residential complex recently complained that residents have been reporting construction issues for more than a decade to no avail. This complex is home to over 1,500 families, yet we've been struggling with these issues since the day we moved in. We've been asking for help for years with no results. If we don't speak out now, we might have to wait until a major accident happens before anyone pays attention. But who can guarantee that tragedy won't hit their own family? Who can afford that risk? Honestly, I feel ashamed posting this video. It might give our neighborhood a bad reputation. Some people say I'm spreading negativity. I'd love to share something positive about my home, but there's nothing to praise here. If anyone out there can help me write something nice about this broken place, please do. In Yiwu, Zhejiang Province, a worker installing windows exposed similar issues in a brand new development.
Look at this. Just scraping it with my fingers makes it fall apart. What kind of developer builds homes like this? People spend millions of yuan on these apartments, and they end up with walls that crack with a touch. If this wall collapses, don't blame me for installing the window incorrectly. It's clearly shoddy construction. Should we report this?
Another resident living on the 36th floor of an apartment complex discovered large cracks on their balcony wall.
I was stunned when I saw this. The building is only a few years old, and the walls are already splitting. What should I do about this? Can anyone give me advice?
In Longgang District, Shenzhen, a homeowner demonstrated how the ceiling in their apartment was more sand than cement.
Look at this, the person said, pulling apart a section of the ceiling with their hands. It's just sand. There's almost no cement here.
In Hongshan District, Wuhan, at the Jindi Central City Complex, exposed and deteriorating steel reinforcements were discovered.
This is the roof of a building in the east section. It was built in 2009. Now, let's take a look at what kind of condition it's in today. The concrete is exposed. Just look at it. The building has a cantilevered beam design. If you look closely, you can see the steel bars have already started rusting. The scariest part is this. The beam was built for decorative purposes, and it's completely unsupported. It's hanging in midair. Here, let me zoom in. This building is only 15 years old, but it's already a safety hazard. I just brushed my finger against it, and a piece of the metal fell off. That's the steel reinforcement, and it's so exposed and weathered that it's crumbling.
As early as 2018, several country garden projects in Shanghai, Lu'an, and other cities experienced structural failures. Experts blame these issues on the company's aggressive push for high turnover. At one point, Country Garden raised its internal goal from the 465 model to the 345 model, meaning construction would start 3 months after acquiring the land, sales would launch in 4 months, and funds would be recovered in 5 months. Industry insiders called this an impossible target and said it inevitably led to compromised quality. Vanke, another major player in China's real estate market, also experienced safety incidents at multiple construction sites in Shanghai and other locations in 2018. Around the same time, Evergrande was facing waves of homeowner protests over homes that didn't match what was promised. As far back as August 2018, Li Jun, then chairman of the well-known developer Greentown China, warned the Bao'ao Real Estate Forum. The homes built in the past 2 years are probably the worst in terms of quality. He explained that developers were rushing construction, cutting costs, and lowering standards, all of which inevitably led to poor quality buildings. Li predicted that between 2019 and 2020, China's property market would see a surge in complaints and legal disputes. Now it's 2025, and the problems persist. This suggests that both property developers and regulatory authorities have done little to improve construction standards over the past few years. Beyond shoddy construction, the real estate sector also struggles with unfinished projects and a growing number of vacant properties, often referred to as ghost homes. By 2024, an estimated 9 million homes were sitting empty across China. According to Lu Ting, chief economist at Nomura Securities, the Chinese real estate market functions more like a futures market than a spot market due to its reliance on pre-sales. This distinction is crucial to understanding the sector's current crisis. While many observers think developers built too many homes that haven't sold, Lu argues that the real issue is that they sold too many homes that haven't yet been built. He used Country Garden as an example. The company has about 36,000 completed but unsold apartments. However, it has already sold around 730,000 units that haven't been finished. On top of that, it has 350,000 units under construction but not yet sold. The ratio of these categories is roughly 1 to 20 to 10. Lu estimated last year that there are around 20 million pre-sold but unfinished apartments across China, essentially ghost projects. Over the past 3 years, China's property market has been on the verge of collapse, with plummeting sales, falling home prices, and stalled developments. In 2023, the combined sales of China's top 200 developers dropped nearly 30%, a 70% fall from their 2020 peak. Lack of funding is a major reason why so many construction projects have stalled. UBS estimates that about 745 million square meters of residential construction is currently on hold, roughly 7.45 million apartments of 100 square meters each. If each apartment were meant to house 3 people, that's around 22 million people affected by these delays. During China's economic boom, private developers amassed enormous wealth through aggressive, debt-fueled growth. But as the industry slowed, debts mounted, and bankruptcies followed. Over the past 5 years, more than 1,660 real estate companies have gone bankrupt. Alongside Vanke and Country Garden, industry giants like Evergrande, Sunac China, and Wanda Group have all faced financial crises. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Chinese government has been reluctant to bail out these struggling developers. Authorities have focused primarily on ensuring the delivery of pre-sold apartments rather than rescuing the companies themselves. Chinese affairs commentator Yue Shan argues that the root of the crisis lies in the government's own policy missteps. For years, Beijing pushed real estate development as a key driver of economic growth. Later, it abruptly imposed strict lending and borrowing controls, triggering the market's downward spiral. Yue pointed out that while developers bear responsibility for poor quality construction, the regulators who were supposed to ensure safety standards should be held accountable as well. Even state media have admitted that when a home is sold in China, as much as 70 to 80% of the purchase ends up as taxes and fees for local governments. Given this, Yue questioned, if the money goes to the government, shouldn't the government also be responsible for repairs or compensation when problems arise?